said start broadcast. That was kind of
Yeah, but we are live, so
welcome one and all to Play by Play Second Channel. I forget the exact name of it, and I don't care. We are doing 2016 year in review. This is going to be a yearly thing where we cover all of the big news stories from the year.
yeah,
It's been quite a ride, hasn't it?
It's a very nice year to usher in this rendition of a new
What's
video
that
for our
Farm Bill
channel.
notification for, Joe?
It'll go away in a second.
Okay.
I've had this PC for so freaking long. Anyway.
All right. So before we start getting into what I think everybody is waiting for us to talk about,
Yes.
Biggest movie of the year, your opinion?
Biggest movie of the year?
Yeah.
Deadpool.
Deadpool. I'm gonna say Civil War.
Okay.
Biggest song of the year.
Biggest
the one that was everywhere
of the year. I'll say Panda.
I would probably go with that as well. Biggest. I don't play video games, so I don't know what the biggest video game of the year would be. Maybe like, I don't know. What I don't know. Who cares?
I'm going to say biggest video game of the year is. This is a tough one.
Call of Duty. Again, I don't play games, so I don't know what came out.
Let me.
Okay, skip that.
Yeah,
skip
we'll
that.
come back
Whatever.
to that.
Biggest new music artist of this year.
Biggest new music artist of this year.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Jon Bellion because I've been hearing a lot. I've been listening to a lot of his stuff.
Okay. I'll say. I'm tempted to say Designer because that motherfucker has been everywhere all year, but I think I'm gonna say I don't know. No, I don't know. No, I'm gonna say Designer.
Okay.
To be honest, Designer, I wish you would go away, but whatever. I'll make a song of you though. I don't care.
I'll say game of the year is probably Overwatch. I only played a little bit of the beta, but that game was good, and I heard at one game of the year I heard so.
I think it was Madden 17.
That game's awful.
It's the only one I played this year. Okay. It was Minecraft. Okay. Now into some of the newsworthy events that happened this year. A habitable planet was discovered in the next solar system over from us in the Alpha Centauri 3-star system, which is our galactic neighbor. It theoretically could hold multicellular intelligent life, although we don't know that for a fact. It could have liquid water, so at least in theory, we could maybe live there one day.
Possibly, with space travel getting light years away.
Yeah.
Which.
The Olympics were held this summer in Rio de Janeiro. It was the first time in the Southern Hemisphere since Sydney. And it was the Olympics. And it was the first time ever in Latin America. No, the first time ever in South America, second time in Latin America, because it was in Mexico once. Yeah. Let's see. It was the 3,400th anniversary of William Shakespeare's death.
Huh.
Oh, that means absolutely nothing.
No.
Because it's an arbitrary number.
Right.
It was 75 years since the attack on Pearl Harbor.
That is that has a lot of significance, and a lot of people don't remember Pearl Harbor. Like, yeah, a lot of people.
I mean, I wasn't alive, but
neither was I.
There's no more World War I veterans. No. We know that. But we're getting very close to a point where there are no World War II veterans either. In fact, an interesting acknowledgement of this is The Simpsons, which has been on for 20 years.
Yeah.
The Simpsons is known for its floating timeline, which is essentially that the characters never age and the show is just always resets in the current year.
Right.
Grandpa is no longer a World War II veteran.
Huh.
There's no mention of that anymore because he would be like 95 years
Right.
old
Yeah, he.
for that to even make
Right.
sense, which would make Homer and Marge in their 60s.
You're right.
So,
I mean, it is kind of sad because until 9/11, this was 9/11. This was one of the first major bombings on U.S. soil,
mhm.
and it's a shame that it gets dusted away into the corner.
Yeah, I think the important thing is to always remember your history.
Right.
We're also going to be closing in on the 75 years since the end of World War II.
Yeah.
Which will also mark 75 years since the end of the Holocaust.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's another major event that will be slowly fading out of people's memory. That's crazy to think about.
Yeah, oh my God.
And then, of course, the big news, the big news, at least for us as fans of what we're fans of, the Cubs winning the World Series for the first time since 1908, snapping the longest title drought in professional sports history from anywhere.
Detroit, you're up next. Let's go Lions.
Let's go. This year might be the year.
It's not inconceivable.
No, inconceivable, exactly. Now, the thing I think everyone wants us to talk about, 2016 was the American election year.
Yes, it was.
Well, actually, before that, we have one more. We have another political entity to talk about, I think.
All right.
Brexit.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
The UK has left the European Union, or they haven't left, but they voted to leave.
Yeah.
And they are now in the process of leaving. Just real quick, I don't know how up to speed you are on international politics.
No, but I did follow this very closely.
Okay, but well, what do you think will be the repercussions of this?
Their economy is just going to go into the toilet.
Yes.
Personally, like that's my personal thought on it. Is you're backed up by the UN. That's what is it? 80-90% of their economy is
through the European Union. Yeah.
So
it's it was a strange time to leave.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because
it's not an election year for them. I mean, they don't. Obviously.
Yeah, the prime minister who promised to the prime minister who was part of the Conservative Party and was supporting leaving promised to help them see through the changes, but then promptly resigned.
Right.
So that's kind of Nixon-ish.
It was the only way I could put it for Americans who don't follow anything outside of what you see, like with Syria and all that sort of stuff, is it's basically like Trump coming to the United States and then driving us into a place where it's a complete shit show and then leaving.
You know what it'd be like? It would be like if California who's the governor of California right now? I don't know who it is, but we'll just assume it's Jerry Brown because that's the last name I know. It would be like if California decided to secede from the union.
Yep. Yeah.
And
that's a better analogy.
Jerry Brown promised we're going to see this through and figure out what we're doing, and then the day after he quit.
Right, and then he moves to Oregon.
Yeah. It's and Scotland is actually having a vote in the next couple of years about whether to leave the UK because they wanted to stay. Scotland and Northern Ireland voted to stay. England and Wales voted to leave. So we will see what happens with that. We will update you maybe in future videos. Probably not.
Probably not, but we'll see if it becomes a big enough.
If it becomes a huge international deal. Anyways,
hold on before we get into this. We can't forget about stuff like Aleppo and
yeah, absolutely, the rise of ISIS.
Yep. And
that hit home.
Numerous terrorist attacks.
Paris, Brussels.
Yep.
Nigeria, Boko Haram.
The list goes on and on. Orlando.
Yeah.
So, and I just saw that somebody drove a truck into a Christmas parade. I believe it was somewhere overseas. I can't remember where it was.
It was in
that's sad.
Turkey, I believe.
For not knowing where another truck has just mauled down people.
I heard something about something happening in Turkey today. I haven't been able to.
That might have been where it was, but it's just horrible.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's something that when the Orlando thing happened, it hit home to us. Not only that, but it's the 4-year anniversary of it was December 14th of Sandy Hook, and that's really close to home because it's not that far from here. But that's something. And when the Orlando thing happened, I said, whoever's the next president, whether it was Hillary, Trump, any third party candidate, they need to focus on one of the main things, and that's it's terrorism and
domestic terrorism. Yeah,
just it needs to stop. With the countless shootings in North Carolina, Minneapolis,
police brutality.
Police brutality.
Thing too.
That from 2015, I didn't think it could get any worse.
I had hoped it wouldn't continue, and it did.
It worsened.
And then it wasn't exactly police. I would consider Dylan Roof domestic terrorism, but that's kind of where it hit its peak.
And the whole Brock Turner incident, which is just horrific. So it's not been a really positive year.
No, there's been a lot of sad stuff, which is why we wanted to have some nice things in the beginning. But now getting to the big elephant in the room. As of today, it is official.
Yes,
he has passed 270 votes. Donald Trump is going to be the 45th president of the United States. Thoughts, immediate thoughts.
Get the hell out of New York City. Please take your family out of New York City. You're costing New York City $1 million a day to keep your family safe. Please get the hell out of the city. The federal government, please reimburse us for the tremendous amount of money that you've cost New York City in tax dollars. And I'm hopeful. That's what I'll say. I'm hopeful that he won't.
I'm cautiously optimistic. Cautiously hopeful.
I'm not going to say I'm cautiously optimistic. I hope. I'm going to give you a shot. I personally didn't vote for you, but that's okay.
Yeah. That's why we live in a democracy.
Yeah. I can't believe I have to say this. What is it? A month after the election or so?
Yeah.
Please don't ruin any of your friendships over political opinion. Please don't do that. That's absolutely freaking ridiculous. You can have a different political opinion and still like somebody and be around somebody. And that's where I feel like Trump went. I mean, for what he's done and what he said he's going to do and all the ridiculous shenanigans that he set up and throughout his campaign.
It's a lot of it is not going to happen.
It's polarized.
Yeah.
That's the one
thing. It has
polarized. That I can't. It just doesn't sit right with me. It's polarized this nation into left or right, and if you're not on the left, you're on the right.
You must be on the right.
And if you're not on the right,
you must be on the left.
You're a terrorist. So
yeah.
It please, and that's something that's why I'm hopeful, because when Trump, from what I've heard, in a little bit of news, is that he's coming off as somewhere in the middle. And that's why I'm hopeful that he's not going to just drive us into the ground. Although his cabinet is a little bit colorful. I'm not really very optimistic with Ben Carson as the Secretary of Housing.
We will get into the cabinet soon enough. Anyways,
your thoughts.
My immediate thoughts is don't panic. Don't panic, because let me tell you right now, a lot of what he said he was going to do is not going to happen.
No, it's not.
And I'll explain why. This is particularly relevant to me and all my Mexican people that I hang out with who were worried about him initially. You're not getting deported, because the way I look at this is, I could obviously be horribly wrong, and I hope that I'm not.
No, I hope you're not either.
But this guy is a businessman. Okay, so he's
supposedly he closed a casino, which makes it impossible.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened.
Literally impossible. To close
he somehow found a way to make a casino go bankrupt. But okay, so this guy is a businessman, right?
Yes.
Which means everything he does to make business better.
Yes.
So he's not going to take a huge chunk of the workforce and send them away. That would be horrible for business.
Or build a wall so that they can't get in.
Yeah, that would be horrible for business.
That is a ridiculous. If you think that's really going to happen, you're absolutely irrational, because
people I think we've discussed, people aren't coming through the desert.
No.
We've probably discussed this before. People are flying here.
Right.
They just drive here or whatever. They don't walk through the desert.
They're coming through kumquat trucks or flying on planes.
Yeah, right.
They're not walking over an imaginary line. There is a wall there. There's fence there.
Yeah.
There's tunnels underground. That's the.
What are you going to build the wall underground?
How are you going to stop the underground? Are you going to stop El Chapo? He's coming through tunnels. Really? Come on.
El Chapo is a wizard. El Chapo is.
He'll blow a bazooka grenade through your wall.
This pimple is really bothering me right now.
Also, it's going to cost the American economy $4.8 billion to create. You really think some homeless man or borderline hippie is gonna fork over cash to build a wall that costs $4.8 million?
No, nobody is.
No.
It's just not gonna happen. And so that's why I say don't panic. Also, please, Trump, please don't screw this shit up. Just I am willing to give you a shot and put my faith in you that you can make America great again, even though I
don't know when we lost it.
Yeah, we didn't lose it ever. Like that's really, like, you want to talk about people who are drinking the Kool-Aid. This whole idea that Obama is like the worst president ever.
He didn't do a terrible job. I mean,
he wasn't a great president, but he wasn't a horrible. I would say he's a pretty good president.
He was a decent president.
He's tier 2. He's solidly tier 2.
He's probably the second best president of our lifetime.
We've only been alive for 3 presidents.
Exactly.
So you're saying you're saying he's better? He's not as good as Bill Clinton.
He's not as good as Bill Clinton, but he's not as bad as George Bush, and that's perfectly fine.
Anybody would be better than George W. Bush.
Trump, really? Let's not set that bar high. That bar is not set that high.
I am willing to stick my neck out and say I think Donald Trump will be a better president than George Bush.
Hopefully, because we all know how that ended.
That's the other thing. Donald Trump will not go to war because war is bad for the economy.
Let's just hope a tweet doesn't set off World War III. Yeah,
that is what I'm worried about. That's why I followed him. I need to keep up tabs on what this motherfucker is saying at 3 in the morning. But anyways,
also one last note on that.
Yeah.
I'm very happy and relieved that this election is over. I may not be happy with the outcome and the results of the election, but dear God, honestly, while I was a little bit fearful and a little bit uneasy the day after the election, as many
people were, at least around here,
right? And many Americans around.
We are from New York.
Pacific northeast region.
We are from New York, and we're from the liberal part of New York.
Yeah.
So,
well, I'm going up to school in the conservative part of New York, and they were very happy, and rightfully so. You got your man, but it's just.
I'm still here.
I'm uneasy. I wasn't uneasy, and I don't know where to go. I want to see how many people actually leave. Like when he gets sworn into office, people are going to say, "I'm going." Some people are going to go. I'm very
well. Some people are
going to Canada.
People with more money than they know what to do with are going to. I feel like there will be an exodus of rich uber liberals. You know what I mean? Like like Lena Dunham's with money will be walking out of the country into Canada. But I think
I'll say this to anybody who's thinking about leaving the country: don't do it unless you can actually pull it off. Like if you're young enough, like let's say you're our age, and you have a pretty sustainable income, and you can find a job in Canada or wherever.
If you can get a job and get a home and make a life for yourself in this country you're moving to,
go ahead.
If you're not going to look for those things, then why are you leaving?
Right.
And you know, the other thing is the other thing I think people forget is that the president is not all powerful.
No, he's not going to become this dictator of the United States. There's checks and balances. The Speaker of the House hates the guy. Like, come on.
So
most of his party does not like him.
Although I think they will toe the line to some degree,
they'll have to.
You know, but interesting question. Does the fact that Trump won the nomination and won the presidency without the support of the Republican Party technically make him a third-party candidate?
No, because there's
enough Republicans
that are like, yes, we got our guy. Let's go. We're gonna push. And for anybody who's saying he's a white supremacist, stop it.
Yeah, that's
he's not. He's not. He didn't say, "Oh, I was a member of the Klan."
Yeah,
the Klan supported him.
Yeah,
but I mean, the Klan has supported presidents in the past, so that's
the
not
Klan
really
supported Bush.
You're right. That's not a really big deal.
I feel like things got blown up more because of the social media generation.
That's how he won.
Yeah,
that's how he won.
That is how he won. Getting to, we have a viewer question, our first viewer question from Andrea, and she asked, how exactly did Trump win? An analysis of how. That's the first thing. He won by using social media.
Hillary did not use, and that's probably how the next president is going to win. Whether it be Trump again, which I don't see.
I think he's just in for 4 years.
Yeah, so do I. I think this is a one and done deal, but we'll see.
Yeah.
But he totally dominated the social media aspect.
And the thing to remember about social media is because when people are like, how did he win, when CNN and BuzzFeed and the Huffington Post were writing all these articles about what a monster he is, and the New York Times and the Post and all that, Washington Post, what a monster he is and what a terrible how did he win? Because on social media, people, psychologically speaking, they think their direct interactions with the guy's tweets are more him than what somebody else says about him. So he said stuff to people directly, whereas Clinton went through various filters, and that's a big part of why he won. The other way he won,
he stuck to his guns. He picked out not you and I, not the women, not the Hispanic vote, not the black vote, the old rich white man vote. He stuck to it through trials and tribulations, through 3 political debates, and he won.
Yeah. You know what else he did? I don't know if you've heard any of Scott Adams' stuff talking about it, but he was a master persuader. He used some of the best persuasion tactics I've ever seen to secure this nomination. Who's that?
Huh?
He's nuts.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's clocking in.
Cool. Inside joke. Among the things he did, he was great at coming up with nicknames for people. He was great at branding people with certain things. Think about Jeb Bush and Low Energy. You think Jeb Bush, you're like, oh, he seems like a cool and collected guy. I could see him managing us well in a crisis. But as soon as Trump says low energy, that's all you can think of. You're like, oh, low energy. I don't want him. Think about Lion Ted, Crooked Hillary, Crazy Bernie.
Well, that's the one thing.
But he picked them very specifically. It sounds like fourth grader stuff, like preschool stuff. But he
locker room talk.
Yeah. Oh my God. Don't even get me started. He picked the insults very specifically based on confirmation bias. Hillary is a politician, and Ted is a politician, so people have this stereotype of they're lying and they're crooked.
He out-politicianed politicians.
Bernie is a radical democratic socialist. He's got crazy ideas, so you have confirmation of crazy Bernie.
I feel like that would have been a much better election than Trump and Hillary, Trump and Bernie.
We will get into that in a minute. What was I going to say? Oh, you're right. So he branded people like this. He repeated things over and over again because repetition is what makes you remember it. And he talked in a simple way because he was talking to simple people.
Right. He wasn't going after
the educated elite of our society. He was going after the common man. And another thing to remember is that this is not exactly a new thing. My mom was asking me the other day, how was it that he was able to convince poor working class people that a rich billionaire from New York City was going to fix everybody's problems? This isn't actually a new thing. Andrew Jackson and Teddy Roosevelt did basically the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you're right, but we'll see. And I'll say this to any Democrat or any person in the Democratic Party: please choose your next candidate for presidency very, very carefully, because you self-destructed in this election.
They totally shit the bed.
Oh my God!
If here's where we get into the hypothetical stuff. If the Democrats had nominated Bernie, I guarantee you they would have won.
Most likely.
I guarantee it.
Most likely.
Because there would have been. I said from the beginning, because I didn't think Sanders was going to get the nomination. I said right from the beginning, Trump is going to win this race. Right from the remember.
Yeah.
And if it hadn't been for the Access Hollywood stuff, I think it would have been a landslide.
Yeah.
But I always said if Bernie can get the nomination for the Democrats, I reserve the right to change my opinion.
Not only that, but with the emails that came out, not the Hillary emails, the emails from the DNC, how they literally just baited her up and she won the nomination.
Yeah, they didn't want him to win.
They didn't want Bernie to win. It's
because here's why he would have won, because you would have seen he had the young vote.
Oh, he had it.
He had
across the board.
Yeah, you would have seen record turnout among
that's
people in our demographic
with the two candidates
going to vote.
And that's the thing where the Democratic Party shot themselves literally in the foot. There was enough people that were on the fence, that were independent or Democrats that are like, I don't know.
And Trump got those people.
Either that or they didn't go out to vote because they're like, well, he's a shit show.
There was a lot.
She's possibly worse. I'm not going to go vote, or the other way around, or vice versa.
Obviously, it comes from his own camp, so we can take what they say with a grain of salt. But according to his campaign manager, there were a lot of people who voted for him who had never voted before in their lives.
I wonder. It was an election year where people turned 18.
No, not like that. Like older people, like like working class.
Oh, I don't believe that for a single second.
I actually do.
I don't.
I mean, obviously, I don't. You take it with a grain of salt because it's from his own camp.
Right.
I think there is some truth to that.
And another thing, the
last reason that he was able to do it was that he campaigned hard in places like Pennsylvania, Ohio,
Hillary,
Michigan. Because
20-1.
What Hillary did wrong, what cost Hillary the election,
she sat at home.
She took it as a given that places that had traditionally voted Democrat would continue to vote Democrat.
Right. While he slammed Michigan.
He didn't
Pennsylvania.
He didn't care about Texas and Nebraska.
No, he
knew he was going to win them anyway. He went to West Virginia. He went to Pennsylvania. He went to Ohio.
Florida.
He went to Michigan. He went to Florida. He went to Wisconsin. He went to these places that could have gone either way and fought hard for them, and he got most of them. It shows.
So I'm not going to say nominate Bernie because there's always health concerns that Bernie might not make it to the next election. That's the running joke, and that's he's what, 80 years old?
Got to be something like that now, 77.
I mean, Trump's like 76, but he's keeping himself.
Trump's 70.
Is he?
Yeah, Bernie is definitely older than Trump, but I don't know by how much.
The best case scenario for the election for next go around would be Kasich and Sanders. I feel like they would be the most.
Sanders would crush Kasich.
I know he probably.
Yeah.
But that would be an election following this one where people would get some sense back. Conversations would actually not end in a screaming match. We'd actually have something to go upon.
I don't know if that'll ever happen. I think
from now on, I don't think. I
think social media and mass media in general has prevented that from ever happening.
And that's horrible because
people live in their own echo chambers.
Right. And
I guarantee you.
I don't know.
I guarantee you, most of the people who voted for Trump only know other people who voted for Trump.
Yeah,
and most of the people who voted for Hillary only know other people who voted for Hillary.
And they were that's blown away. Thing. Why would you vote for that other person?
Why would you? That's the big thing. How did he win? I only know people who voted for her because you only associated with people
right,
who
and you
voted
only
for her.
read pro-Hillary stuff.
You restricted yourself into an echo chamber where you were only seeing the same thing.
Right.
And it happened the same way on the Republican side. People just got in their echo chambers where Obama was evil and Hillary was a crook and Super Trump was the only one who could save us.
And I don't know. It's,
you know, and I love Twitter. I love Twitter.
Oh,
I really do.
I want to invest money in Twitter.
There are some days when I sit there and I'm like, this should really be banned. This should really not be allowed to exist.
It's people have an outlet to speak their mind, and they you can do it, but
as who was it who said, when, I don't know who it was, when you give people the freedom to choose, they choose wrong.
Was that? I feel like that's something Keith Olbermann would say.
I don't think it was Keith Olbermann.
I know, but
it was definitely someone from way before that.
I feel like that's something that drunk Keith Olbermann would just blurt out at a bar.
Probably, yeah.
When he's drunk.
Talk about someone who's anti-Trump, Keith Olbermann.
He actually had a good piece, and so did Bryan Cranston.
He did. They did. It was very interesting.
Both of them were like, I don't know how he's going to win, and lo and behold, he won.
Yeah. I have yet to read an interesting pro-Trump piece that really dives beyond what we've already said. Though,
yes.
Which
that's the one thing around the election. I had an absentee ballot, and I casted my vote well before the third debate, because I already made up my mind by then.
Yeah.
I tried.
I ended up writing in myself.
I tried to find anything that would say this is why you should vote for Trump. I didn't find anything.
No.
I found
there were just people who
vote
said
for Trump because Hillary is this.
Vote for Trump because Hillary is that. Vote for Trump because the wall.
Because the wall. Because Obama ruined this country. Because this, that, or the other thing. It didn't talk about his policy. To this day, I don't know anything besides him in favor of marijuana.
Because he never talked about his policies.
Right. They brought it up. He goes, I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah. He just,
what?
Yeah.
How?
It was pretty ridiculous.
So
that's also why I think that's a good indication of where he's going to sit politically. I think he didn't talk about his policies because he knew that the Republican base wouldn't like them.
Right.
Because he knows that he's not going to build the wall. He knows that he's not going to ban Muslims. He knows that he's not going to go to war. He might repeal Obamacare.
He might do that. And
but in his defense,
he might shut down Hamilton. But we'll see.
Oh my God! In his defense, Obamacare. I'm in full support of Obamacare.
So am I.
But in his defense, he does have a legit good reason for why he wants to get rid of it. Because it's not
arguable.
It is arguable because he says that small business owners have a very hard time paying for their employees' health care now, which is actually true. It's backed up by it's one of the few things he says that is backed up by statistics,
and a statistic that's not made up.
So, but banning it is not the way to go. Adjusting it is the way to go.
Fixing it, and look at the thing that with our neighboring northern partners in Canada is that this healthcare is never an issue. Why? Because it's free. Every citizen gets it. Now that would be tough because of the vast majority of immigrants that flock to this country for various reasons.
That's a big part of the reason I don't think it's happened here yet.
No, I don't think and I don't think it will.
Yeah, because it's too immigrant driven.
Right.
There's no way to keep tabs on, make sure everybody has. Canada has much less immigration than we do. And most of Canada's immigration is from other Commonwealth nations, which is being the British Commonwealth, meaning Jamaicans are coming there who already have some degree of Canadian citizenship because of the Commonwealth, and Fiji and Australia and certain African countries and India and etc. America doesn't have a Commonwealth.
No.
No. You know, you're either an American, born an American citizen, or you're not.
Or you're an immigrant.
You know.
One final, actually three 3 points on this year. Final points on this year. Why don't you go first?
Final point before we get into our viewer submitted questions.
Yes.
Final point is Trump. I did not support you during the election. I thought you were a big jackass, but I always thought you were going to win. Please, please, please stick to your promise from election night and be the president for all Americans, not just the ones who voted for you. And my plea to Republican voters who voted for Trump. Please, please, please do not condemn the other side as evil, and do not condemn the other side as wrong. The other side meaning liberal people.
Yes.
Such as myself, because we have things to bring to the table, and we have valid concerns. And to the liberals, please, 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 do not paint the other side as racist or sexist or anything like that. Some are.
There's no doubt that some are, yes.
But there are some liberals that are racist, believe it or not.
For sure.
So please do not paint the other side as exactly that.
Racist, misogynistic, what have you.
Listen to what they have to say, and let's hope that we can come to a common ground somewhere. Because there are good points on both sides, and there are legitimate concerns on both sides.
Oh, yeah.
The one thing I noted, I heard it on Bill Maher, and I wanted to share it with you. He said a big part of the reason that the Democrats lost this election is the Democrats have lost the white working man, which is the base of their party that they used to have. And, and the mere fact of that somebody can say that, and then people will think that's racist. He's saying that you should focus more on the white vote. Well, no, it's not racist. It's because when you focus on the vote of people who are the majority of this country, you're going to win. It's political strategy. Yeah. And the second thing is, he said, and I quote, people on the left made the white working man voters feel like their problems didn't matter and that they weren't being listened to, because they were like, oh, you're not black, you don't understand, you don't check your privilege and all that. Right. And he said, and I quote, if your life sucks, your life sucks. There's no way around it. And I hope that we can all come together and be like, look, we're different. We have different disadvantages or advantages depending on what we look like, where we're from, what kind of money we've got. But let's try to come to a common ground and realize that we're all just trying to live a life, and we've all got legitimate concerns, and we've all got things that we want to make better in our own lives. Let's listen and let's have a dialogue. Fine. That's my final point on the year.
My final point of the year is it wasn't all bad. It did get drained out. And the Cubs winning the World Series for the first time in 108 years got very, very quickly drawn out by the election just a couple of days later. But it wasn't all bad. It wasn't 90. I would say 90% of this year wasn't all bad.
Yeah.
For most people. For some people, you might have had a shitty year. And
for me, it was pretty good.
Me, I mean, it wasn't my best at bat, but that's why we have 2017. I'm gearing up for 2017. 2015 was really, really good. 2016, I thought was going to build on that for this channel. For various things. For various other things.
Kind of slacked off.
It was all right, but build on it. We have a new president. He will determine some things for some people. Some of the things he will not come to fruition on, which we already talked about with the wall and deporting Muslims and this, that, and the other thing.
It's not going to happen. It's not.
But give him a chance. I know you didn't vote for him. I didn't either. But some people didn't vote for Bush. And Bush, he did some things that screwed the next president. And Obama has done some things that'll screw Trump. And Trump will do some things that will hopefully not end the world, and he'll screw the other president that comes in right after him. That's just the way it works.
We've had some terrible leaders through the years, and what we did every single time was we just waited for them not to be president anymore.
For a majority of the people that are freaked out about Trump.
Mm-hmm.
He will do some stuff that will affect you, but majority of the stuff that he will do will not affect your daily life. If you're going out and saying, well, he's going to take my job, no, he will not come to your small business, be that a dry cleaners or a corner store, and come and shut your doors and say, you're not allowed to live here. You're not allowed to make money here.
You're fired.
You're fired. Please leave. That's not going to
That's
happen.
not how the office of president works, guys.
He can't do that. You have some civil liberties that will protect you. He cannot come to your home and rile up your children and kick them across the border or kick them all the way back to Iraq. That is not going to happen. He has said some stuff that might rub you the wrong way, but he has also said some stuff that is positive, that for every American can lay their hat on and be hopeful for. So please, I'm going to plead along with Nick, don't jump at the other side. Don't throw stones at a glass house, because we're all living in this glass house.
Let's have a dialogue and not a shouting match.
There's nothing's going to get done if we don't talk about it. You might say, oh, he's going to take our guns away. Oh, he's going to deport us. Well, why don't we have a conversation about it? Bring up your points. I'll bring up mine. We'll have a conversation with each other. And hell, we're adults. We don't have to agree with everything. That's something that this year that I just can't wrap my head around.
The fact that we have to
Why do we have to agree with everything? You can still have a conversation. You could still get shit done. You don't have to agree on every little detail that goes on. Will you be upset that, oh, this didn't go my way? Sure, you can go home and bitch to your family about that. But at the end of the day, there's a compromise. Something happened. How do you think one of the best things that Obama did during his presidency, that being legalizing gay marriage, how do you think that got done? For years, people were like, they don't have rights. That's a choice. You can't do that. You're not born that way.
Everything is a process.
Yes. And I feel like this 2016 is the ground floor.
It's important to remember for everybody, we are not living at the end of history. We're living in the middle of it. And last thing that I do want to say, final point on the year, is for all of you not my president people, I love that you're protesting, because protesting is awesome.
You have the ability to protest.
You have the right, and that's awesome. But I do want you to sit back and ask yourself, if you're doing it because you really don't like his policies and you really don't want him in office and you really strongly believe these things, cool, keep doing it. But if you're just doing it because people said it about Obama, take a look at yourself. Really ask yourself, how does that make me any better than them? You know what I mean?
Right.
Because it's awesome that we have protests. It's cool, but
people in other countries can't protest.
Yeah.
It's illegal to do that.
But I hope we're having the protests because you have a legitimate concern, and not because it's somewhat of a popularity contest, or you just want to get back at them.
One small point I'll piggyback over that. Please don't. You can have a right to protest somebody's protest, but don't scream at the protest. Protests are supposed to bring awareness and build up points and start a conversation. And for a metaphor for this year is 2016 is the ground floor. Everybody hop on, or you're not gonna go anywhere. This is the ground floor. This is something that we can build off of. It was for majority speaking, with all of the violence and events that went on in 2016, it wasn't necessarily a great year for news. So change it.
Yeah.
Change it. Go do something in 2017 that you wouldn't have done or you didn't do in 2016. Don't wait. And you still have about 11 days.
Yeah.
Because the 19th is almost over here on the East Coast, majority speaking. You have about 11 days or so. Change it. Go do something about it. Let's see some viewer questions.
Okay, getting into the questions. First question is from Mike, and he says, what do you think of Trump's cabinet picks so far?
Not confident.
Wow.
Not confident at all.
It's very the only one I like Rex Tillerson for Secretary of State. It's a weird pick, and it's weird for me to say that because I don't want big money in government. But the guy has a proven track record of being able to make deals with people, and he doesn't have. I don't want to hear the stuff that he's a Kremlin stooge. He's not. He has experience making deals with different countries, and he doesn't have a hatred or not a hatred is not the right word, but an unwillingness to work with this country or another country. He's happy to work with everybody.
Well, I mean, his business kind of dictated what his relations with people. He has to be good at making deals.
But now he has to do the same thing.
He's in the oil business.
But now it's the same thing, and he's, and being good at making deals in the oil business is going to be translating into be good at making deals here.
Yeah, I don't
which
like
is
that
what
he's,
Trump's policy.
I mean, he is sort of piggybacking on people and say, hey,
yeah,
I supported you, you stuck by me, or I didn't like you, but you stuck by me. I'm gonna reward you with a cabinet position.
Mm-hmm.
I hope and pray that somehow, some way, Sarah Palin does not fall into this cabinet. I hope he finds
that'd be terrible.
Somebody else.
Ben Carson, why is he the Secretary of Urban Development? He's a brain surgeon.
I feel he would have a decent. I would say a decent pick for him as the education district. But
that'd be a horrible pick. He thinks the pyramids were made 6,000 years ago to store grain.
I mean, I would say he would be a better suit for the Secretary of Education than he would be for the Secretary of Urban Development. He knows nothing.
He'd be the better spokesman for the Secretary of Sleeping during the daytime. Lord have mercy. Why is a hockey owner being named as like a Secretary of the Army? Why is Bobby Valentine a candidate for ambassador to Japan?
Why is Woody Johnson the UK ambassador?
Yeah.
He's literally handed the position to him.
Why is Hulk Hogan up for a cabinet position? Like that. No, to answer your question, Mike, I have no confidence in
none.
most of his cabinet.
None.
This is going to be a shit show, left, right, and center. From Hanya, she asks, with the discovery of life on this distant planet nearby, well, not the discovery of life, but the discovery that life could be there.
Right.
Do we think life exists elsewhere in the universe? And if so, what does it look like?
I would say yes, it has to, because the universe does not solely stick to our galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
There has to be something somewhere out there.
Yeah. I agree.
Massive. And if there is life, I would say it's very similar to the early stages of what was on this planet before we existed.
Mm-hmm.
That would be I would think it'd be just plants and algae and all that sort of crap.
Mm-hmm. Something to think about. If the universe is infinite, then that by definition means that the types of life in it are infinite.
Yes, that would be.
So the very definition that the universe is infinite means there's no way we can only be the only living things, because that would mean there's a finite number of living things in an infinite world.
Right.
But getting less philosophical, what it probably looks like is similar to what we have here, like you said. And in particular, I have 4 traits that are scientists believe, Neil deGrasse Tyson has talked about this, scientists believe that these 4 traits are almost certainly found among other life.
Well, because he is a smart man, so I would believe him.
Because they've evolved multiple times on Earth independently of one another. Those being flight, sight, photosynthesis, and echolocation.
All right.
Something to chew on.
Yeah.
Yep. Every organism needs a way to see its surroundings, at least if it's multicellular. Flight being a way to get around. I guess crawling would also be a way to get around, but whatever. Flight. Photosynthesis to get food, and echolocation to communicate with others. So, anyways.
We got any more?
Yeah, next question is also from Andrea. And she said, what was it? Oh, she said, with the fact that Hillary Clinton lost, will this cause the Democratic Party to go into a tailspin, since they had assumed that this election was a given, and they put all of their eggs in one basket, essentially?
Yes.
And
not only that, but the outcome of the party in its nucleus and what they've done to just completely sabotage themselves. Yes, this will have a tailspin effect on their party, which is very uneasy to think about in a bi-party system.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I think the party is going to have to do a lot of soul searching about why they decided to pick Hillary over the candidates that people seem to actually want.
Right.
And I don't know what's going to happen. I do think they'll recover from this. I don't see how a party that big, it's almost too big to fail, if you pardon the pun. But I don't. They won't win the midterm election. I think he's going to have a Republican Congress all the way through. But by the time 4 years rolls around, they should have a good challenge.
They'll have an uphill battle to bounce back. Yes.
Yes. Okay. That's it for the viewer submitted questions.
Thank you guys for sitting through and living through 2016.
We'll try to keep surviving.
We'll hopefully be back for the 2017 year in review, and hopefully it'll be better. Hopefully 2017 will be better for us. We have a update video going up on our second channel momentarily right after this gets done. We will continue to give you guys updates on our Twitter about this channel, what we're going to do. We have some nice plans for it. A Rogue One review will be coming to you guys within the next 2 weeks or so. So stay tuned for that. Please follow us on Twitter. Make 2017 your year. And thank you guys so much for supporting this channel. Great things will be coming in 2017 on this channel for sure. And till next time, guys. Peace out, PPG Nation.